Okay, getting into Module 2. Module 2 is Canadian landscapes. I have you penciled in to be working on this between September 12th and 20th. Again, 4 questions to kind of think about as you are going through the text in this section. These questions are going to come back to you in assignments and maybe in your independent reading. Okay, I'm still putting that one together. So I've got a comprehend and respond here, where again you've got some different texts and questions to answer. Poetry and another slam poem. Okay, because in Module 2 poetry is going to be the focus, and with the poetry you also have to read the poetry. So this one here is a public speaking skills self-assessment. Just go through the self-assessment, review your results, and then just an informal journal response that tells me kind of about where you are with your public speaking. This is your first public speaking, it's not really public, but your first speaking assignment for this class, and it's just reading the poem that you write. And now you may be suffering some nerves because, yep, the big assignment for this class is to write a poem, and you can make it an imitation poem, which means you can kind of follow one of the patterns in the previous assignment. Okay, I Am Canadian, Saskatoon, a Love Letter, or the I Am From poems. I think they were from the first module. Or you can do a free verse poem, you can write a ballad, you can write a reverse poem, you can do whatever format of poetry you would like. How I try to keep you a little bit responsible here is I ask for at least 20 lines, and you need to show me some poetic elements. So if you need to review from the Module 1 notes, do that. So then the second part of the assignment is to annotate your poem. Annotation is a really important skill, and if you're not sure what that means, then please let me know. I'm going to highlight it here, and I might even link something to that, because annotating is huge, especially if you're going on to post-secondary, university, or polytech. Being able to engage with the reading and make sense of it is so important. Okay, so some of the kids had some success with Canva last year. It's beautiful when it works. Others were not as successful. You can use whatever you want to annotate for this part of the assignment, but you'll get a better idea of what I mean by looking at this slideshow. And then the third part of this assignment is to submit an audio recording of you reading your poem. So this is how I'm going to assess the writing. This is how I'm going to assess the annotation, and you can see I have the outcomes from the course attached here to this assignment. And then this is how I'm going to assess the oral reading. So I've highlighted this part to not sound like a robot when you're reading. If you feel that public speaking is a bit of a challenge for you, then let's do a practice round, okay? And I will give you some advice before you hand it in. All right, so that's that assignment. Now, this one, after every big assignment you do for me, you are going to do this assess and reflect. Because if you remember from the outcomes of the course, there's comprehend and respond, there is compose and create, that's the CC, there's comprehend and respond, and then the last 2 outcomes are assess and reflect, where you go over what you've done and kind of think about your strengths and your challenges and set some goals for next time. So looking at this assignment, I just want you to go through these questions, answer them informally. If you want to do this in a video, feel free. If you want to have a Teams meeting with me and do it as kind of a little interview, that's fine too. I just want you to be able to to explain, answer, reflect on these questions. Now, I set up a little rubric here because I was getting some really brief answers. And so, in order to become a effective reflector, I guess, I set up this rubric to guide you. So the 3 is where you want to be. You are able to identify strengths and challenges of your own writing. So you have to be able to give me some examples as well. You can't say, oh, I'm really good at the descriptive details, but then not show me where you've done descriptive details. So when I say writing jargon, so that's where I want you to use writing vocabulary and show me in your assignment where you did this. So being this is a poetry assignment, you say, I did really well at similes. I use them here in the first verse and here in the third verse, this line really well. Imagery, I'm good at imagery, not so good at the sound imagery. Like as you can see from this word, I had trouble with it, or rhyming or whatever, but I want you to be able to use the writing techniques. So using those words like stanza and verse and free verse and metaphor, like be able to use those words. So if you don't effectively use the writing jargon, find examples in your writing, then your answers are going to end up being a little bit brief. So just as thorough and as honest as you can be in these assess and reflect pieces. Okay, and that's module 2.